What's up, guys? I hope you're doing well. And so basically, like the Fed has been tapering the size of their balance sheet, right, with QT and stuff like that, trying to kind of roll stuff over. But how long is this really going to last, right? They actually just released a couple of days ago on May 4th. There was a press release with their plans of reducing the size of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. So we'll just head over to a screen share over to that press release, if I can get to it. Okay, and this one's going to be a short one. But right, so we all know that in January 2022, all committee participants agreed to the following plans for significantly reducing the Federal Reserve's balance, or their security holdings, right? And so this includes their SOMA portfolio and stuff for the System Open Market Account, SOMA. And then basically, they are, let's see, adjusting the amounts reinvested of principal payments received from securities. So when they're the SOMA portfolio, this is where like all those treasuries and stuff and the mortgage-backed securities and then other agency securities as well, in which they bought for QE. This is where they're held, is the SOMA portfolio. Um, Basically kind of as collateral for their other liabilities like bank reserves and stuff. Um, and, oops. So I didn't know this, but they're putting caps on those, right? But anyways, before I get ahead of myself, those securities, right? They mature. I mean, with time, they mature, and then they get paid interest and principal back for those treasuries. And so basically, they are planning on reinvesting the principal payments that they receive from those treasuries or the other securities as well. And they have different caps on those. So for treasuries, the cap is initially at 30 billion per month, and after 3 months, it's going up to 60 billion. It's being, I guess, rolled over into new treasuries or reinvested. Um, and then for the agency securities and the agency mortgage-backed securities, it's initially at 17.5, and then in 3 months it doubles to 35 billion per month, right? So basically, over time, the committee intends to maintain securities holdings in amounts needed to implement monetary policy effectively and efficiently in its ample reserves regime. So this is something I've talked about quite a bit in other videos and on posts on my website and stuff, is this ample reserves regime. Um, and basically, it's like how they're defining an ample amount of reserves is any significant fluctuation in that amount does not influence, or does, I guess, it doesn't change Fed funds, right? And so it's not going to really change interest rates in any way if there's a significant decrease or increase in bank reserves, because there's just so many of them. It's almost like it reaches a point of saturation, I guess. And I read, I believe it was a New York staff report, but it was one of the staff reports of the Federal Reserve, about how they basically what happened in the little repo spike in 2019 was basically they had reached a point in which the amount of reserves was apparently not significant enough. It wasn't considered ample. So once they kind of decreased below that point, they got a spike in repo rates, and started to have problems with liquidity and stuff like that. Um, I believe I have a graph and everything in one of the blog posts about that specific thing. When I was specifically talking about the ample reserves regime, it's just that was like a month and a half ago, so I don't recall it right off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, and basically this whole thing is they depend on slowing and then stopping the decline in the size of their balance sheet when the reserves get to that point again. And so they're kind of, this whole selling off of treasuries and QT and everything is only going to last as long as they get to that barrier of QT, which is probably where this said market or whatever is going to break, as you hear from other things as well. Basically, how they're going to do it until they break something. But anyways, that's all I got for this one. So I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you on the next one.